Welcome, everybody. After the amazing win for the Indiana Fever, they had an emotional locker room moment together as a team before coming out for the press conference. I wanted to do a live react to the press conference and just kind of show you what was said there. This is something I might continue to do as the season progresses, just as another way to give insight into those of you that aren't catching the post game press conferences but want commentary alongside those. So let me know what you think in the comments down below after this video. But without further ado, let's jump into the press
Just
conference.
start, I guess, with Kelsey Mitchell and what she did to Grammy, because something else.
That's yeah. I mean, I'm speechless, really. She was what 0 for 7 in the first half and 4 points, and just put us on her back. Made big shot after big shot, big play after big play. She didn't settle. She stayed aggressive, and she willed us.
What is it about?
And I think like enough can't be said about Kelsey Mitchell in this game coming through, because at the Seattle Storm game where I was at, for example, things weren't going her way. There was lots of fouls that weren't getting called, ball just kind of bouncing off. She's losing her dribble, that kind of stuff. And you could tell that mentally she was out of that game. And in this game, it was there was like similar signs in that first half, especially the first quarter, where she can't make a shot. The ball is getting turned over. She has that one dribble behind the back and it bounces off the back of her shoe and rolls for a backcourt, like stuff like that, where normally I've seen her crumble before or not be able to recover from that. And in this, like, she just flipped a switch and had a stellar performance, a career night. So, can't say good enough things about her. And Stephanie White is correct on this.
About this group, the resiliency, things like what happened to Sophie. What is it about them that seems to bring the best out of them?
It's gonna be hard to talk about without getting emotional. I mean, first
tell me this team isn't close and really cares about one another.
and foremost, they're good human beings. They're selfless. They're tough. They don't care who gets the credit. They don't care whose day it is. They got something inside of them that you just can't teach. And they bring it out of each other, and it allows us to go through these incredibly tough times that we're going through, and always gives us a chance. And I'm just so incredibly proud of them for continuing to believe, for continuing to pull together, for continuing to step up. I mean, every single person on this roster impacts winning for us. And every single person on this roster is valued for how they impact winning, whether they play a second or not. They give and give and give to this team. And I'm thankful for this group.
I mean, this is true, and this is how I feel about Bree Turner in this game. How well she played in this game down the stretch in crunch time, but she is someone that hasn't been getting time, or she gets late minutes or no minutes, and yet she's still on that bench. She's still calling shot clock. She's still trying to impact her team's ability to win. And again, that's seen throughout the entire team, and the way Stephanie talks about this. You just look at their reactions on the sideline in overtime, heading into the fourth, how much they're celebrating each other, how much Stephanie White is, she's bumping Kelsey Mitchell after that pump fake three and saying, let's effing go. Like, that kind of stuff is just really signs of a very tight knit team, and teams that are able to not crumble in tough situations like the Sun did when they gave up a 21-point lead.
When it came to actually being able to make the comeback happen, more like the basketball side of things, what did you see your team be able to accomplish on both sides of the floor?
We started setting screens. We took care of the ball. I mean, there's no defense for the transition opportunities we were giving them off of our turnovers in the first half. We gave ourselves a chance by taking care of the ball. We kept our floor spacing.
Which I'm going to be honest though, like the Fever don't have great defensive transition defense, but there were times that like even late in the game too, where it's like Bria Hartley falls down. She's not even in the play, but we take a three and it bounces off, and they immediately just huck it full court for Bria Hartley, who's finally cleaning herself off the floor to do a cherry pick. You know, like there's no stopping that kind of thing. But think there is something to say about the fever, and it's a delicate thing. And like it's a pro game, and it's so easy when you have the zoomed out view versus when you're in it. But how you deal with players like that that are down on the other end, how you take advantage of a 4v5. And I think that in those scenarios, you need to make sure that you're taking advantage of the 4v5 and you're getting a really good look so that you make it so that you can get back on transition or have someone leak out early, just because it kind of works both ways where you're getting the 4v5 advantage. But in that exact example, the player that slowed down the court has the lead on you to go the other way and push pace. It's something that Fever like to do. But in this game, it's very obvious that sometimes they'll take a early three or a shot that's not quite as good or not quite as open or not quite for sure. And then it goes the other way and they lose points on that. And that's part of why they actually have a pretty high conversion rate on their turnovers.
We stayed aggressive to the rim. You know, we forced them to defend multiple actions instead of just one. You know.
So there's actually a really good, I didn't cover this in my video, but I'll actually throw it on this. There's a really good moment where Aaliyah Boston hits that backdoor to Kelsey Mitchell. We've seen them do that a million times. Teams started to prep for it and stop it. But in this game, it was all the way until overtime when AB makes that play. Aaliyah Boston, they fail whatever action they're doing on one side of the court. Aaliyah Boston actually kind of gets the ball knocked out of her hands. She picks up her dribble, goes to the other side of the court, dribbles it over, and then Kelsey Mitchell comes up like she's going to do that classic, the DHO, and just curl around that they've been doing all game long. All game long, she's been going around. Layla Lacan's getting fouls, trying to chase her through it. And so they bite on immediately, just thinking like, oh, this is what's going to happen. And that's when finally, in overtime, Kelsey Mitchell backdoors free 2 points to start the overtime. And that kind of smarts and IQ and ability to, again, give different looks or pull the thing out that you're really good at that you just haven't been showing because you know the defense is key on it. Like that stuff matters. And that stuff adds up in this game for sure.
You know, I think you're beginning to see, you know, Odyssey get comfortable and everybody around her get comfortable with her on the floor. The decision making I thought was really good. Our activity level was really good, and we locked in and honed in on our details defensively, and that's what we're going to have to do. And you know, we made some big shots when we needed to. We got some huge timely stops when we needed to. I thought Bree Turner's defense was incredible. She did a great job coming in the second half and, you know, giving us length, giving us versatility. You know, we locked in and got it done.
And again, I've already gushed about Bree Turner in this, but I think that they didn't have the energy in the first half. You could definitely tell the difference in the second half just of how energized they were, even if they like missed or anything. Like there was definitely a switch that was flipped that looked starkly different in comparison with the previous game that we just had where the team came out flat and uncoordinated. And this game was like the tempo and energy was up, even if they weren't sinking the shots yet. And then it slowly built and built and built until they got to
This game felt big. I mean, I know you were talking about one game at a time, but
Yep.
the congestion in the standings, were you all feeling that in the moment of that pressure to, you know, not let one get away?
No, I mean, you know, maybe some of that stuff was happening before the game. I don't know. You know, we talked in our locker room about this was the most important game for us. Connecticut is our most important opponent. You know, we cannot look too far ahead. We don't have the luxury of that. And we've got to make sure that that we're continuing to stay locked into the moment, you know. And then I think when Sophie went down, it was another blow, right? It's another gut punch, and it took us a little bit. And you know, fortunately, we were able to come in at halftime and regroup and, you know, re-emphasize that we have enough, and that we've got to continue to do the things that it takes for us to be successful. And that starts on the defensive end. It starts with us making sure that we're locked into our scout. It allows us to get out in transition, and our players just made great plays.
Man, I think that again, a lot of it comes down to energy levels too, right? Because like you could see in that game, second half on, energy levels pick up, but also into that overtime, they even though the Sun were making shots, there's just when you look at a team, you can see the team that's worried and the team that's not worried. And the the Sun made some killer shots, but the Fever were the ones that looked like they had control. They had the killer instinct. They had the jugular and they were not going to let go. And again, this game really mattered. It really mattered for the standings. It mattered for the team's confidence. And again, this team keeps losing members and key members at that. They've been without Sophie at the beginning of the season. Now they're probably she's gonna miss a few games. I did see that she was smiling a little bit in the post game, so hopefully her spirits are at least high, even if her knee's not good. But hopefully we get some good news about that. We'll probably find that out tomorrow. But man, what an important win for this team. I'm so happy for them.
Have an update on Sophie?
No. Do you have an update on Sophie? Yeah.
Let's do more like MRIs or something.
Just wanted,
Yeah, MRI tomorrow.
Sorry, just quickly on something. I mean, what's going through your mind when you see her down like that, and you're jogging over there?
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, especially the way that she fell, and
She's real for that. she's real for that reaction. That's a real reaction right there.
how she was holding herself and how much pain she was in. At the time, it's like crap, and then you go down there and you see her, and it's like, okay, just want her to calm down and be able to regroup. And then it turns to problem solving, right? It's how do we put ourselves in position to win? What do we need to do? I think maybe that's how I survive, is going straight to problem solving. But, again, this group is just, they're special, and I'm thankful for them.
Coach Mike, piggyback off one statement you made.
To be honest, I actually think, I'm sorry to interrupt this question, but I do think that Stephanie White and her crew definitely perform better when they have a tighter roster. It feels like they know their rotations a little bit better. I know there's some counter evidence, but I felt like when they were in that kind of crunch mode streak, when they got airy through hardship, they were running better when they were a little bit more lean, when they, Dantos went to America Cup, that kind of stuff, where it's like they had specific tools to solve problems with, and so they were able to organize them better than when they have an array of weapons and they're testing them out and they're creating inconsistency. So it's a little thing I've noticed. I'd be interested to see if that continues.
I'm going to talk about a player that maybe is not appreciated when she's Odyssey Sims. I think her clutch shots in the fourth inning and overtime help contribute to this. You see what Kelsey did clearly against his whole people in shot. If you could just talk about the player she is and what she's contributed since she's been here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a reason that she's here. Her ability to break down defense, to get to the rim, to be a playmaker for herself and for others. She's a scorer, and she's a scoring point guard, and we knew that we needed that. I felt like early she was being thrown in, and she might have been a little nervous, looked like a little nervous, little jitters, and I give Karima and Austin and Bree all coached her in AU, and give Karima a lot of credit. Karima had some conversation with her about, look, the reason that you're here is to be you, and talking about how she impacts our team and how she can impact winning for us, and she's continued to get more comfortable and continued to get better, and she was huge for us. Not just her playmaking ability getting to the rim, but I mean 19 and 7. Her ability to find the right read, her ability to manage the clock and game situation, in the fourth quarter and in overtime, it was big. We depend on her, and she's.
I think that, yeah, I mean, Odyssey Sims, huge performance tonight. Definitely wouldn't be the same game without her. And I think that, again, it is her confidence going to the rim and the things that she can do athletically that our other guards can't do beyond just handling the ball. I think it's just, there's so many points in this. I pointed out in my video the pass that she turned into a layup, but some of the moves she did, spinning back and forth into a floater, just like stuff that just like is not there for the other players. They're a little bit more like technique over athleticism, So I think that, yeah, like can't be enough to be said about Odyssey, but also the coaching staff being able to, one, right her mind. Because I remember in those early interviews, she was talking about how nervous she was with the Indiana fan base and all the attention, that kind of stuff. And it clearly showed in the first game. And you didn't see the same, prepared polish that you saw from Aerie. And it was right to not expect that right away. But now you can see that she started to come out of her shell and the real player that she is. And can't be proud enough of her for how she finished tonight, down the stretch, especially. And you can see why the coaching staff and everyone was trusting her so much. You even saw in the last game when she would come in during crunch time, and now into this game, being able to close it out. So definitely deserves her props.
She's continuing to grow in her role with us.
Steph, you got quite a warm reception.
Yeah.
What that means to you?
It meant a lot. I mean, there's so many special people here and so many special memories that I have, and whether it was walking out in the casino or, coming in and behind the halls here, pregame, just seeing so many friendly faces and in the stands, it melted my heart. I was so thankful. Obviously, I didn't get to talk to Jen, but seeing Jen across the way too, I mean, it's a special place, and I'm grateful to have had my time here, and thankful for all these familiar faces that I saw. Hey, good, how are you?
I was just wondering, when you took the job in Indiana and decided to ask the staff to go with you, particularly Keith, because he's from here and I write for the paper from his hometown, but what was it about, the staff in general, you guys were so close, Austin and Keith and Bree, how was it having them go with you? Did that make the transition even easier?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they're great at what they do. There's so many layers and nuance to coaching in our league, and they are so good at what they do. And I really feel like we have 3 head coaches on our sideline. Bree and Austin are going to be great head coaches in this league. When they get their opportunities.
Bree is really impressive to me. I think she definitely, especially for developing point guards for defensive schemes and that kind of stuff, I think that she definitely is worth a look. And Austin actually has, he has a win this year, filling in for White. Now it's against the Sky, so but it's still, it's on the official record. So happy for him getting that win there, and he's been able to step in and command the ship a little bit when he's in and share some chops.
Keith, I didn't know if I'd be able to peel Keith away from Connecticut. He is absolutely excellent in player development and growing into, coaching role. I know that I have such a rich history and trust with everybody, with Karima, because Karima's how I met Austin. Austin and Bree, especially with those 3 right there, such a rich history. I trust them wholeheartedly. I believe in them wholeheartedly. And with Keith too, continuing to grow him into a coaching role while relying on him to help our players get better. He's got such a good rapport with players. He's got such a good communication style. He's so detailed in what he does. We have a great group, and when talking about our team being resilient, it's our staff too. We've got a really good staff that stays together, that believes in one another, that leads by example, and quite honestly has been through nearly every situation that these players are going to go through in our league. We've been here, we've played in it, we've done it, we've been through injury, we've been through all the things. So I'm just, again, continue to be incredibly grateful for the people that I'm surrounded by.
To piggyback, when you have a game like this, that you had to come back down from July, then you go into overtime and win the game. I think you guys don't have another game until Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So how much is the benefit that you guys are going to have to play another game until Friday? And how does it benefit you for your players to get rested?
Well, it's huge. I mean, I think we've, when you look at some of the standings, and we've played a game or 2 games, more than anybody else. We're kind of front loaded in some of the things that we did, and we need the rest, we need the recovery. We had players that played a lot of heavy minutes, so we need that, and we also need time to kind of recalibrate. After Phoenix, it was a quick turnaround to figure out how we're going to play without Ari and Sid, and now we got to figure out how we're going to play without Soph. And we've got to figure out, who can play in certain roles. What are our substitution patterns going to be? What kind of bring?
I mean, we knew she was probably going to miss time. Hopefully it's not as much time, but again, at least this is a conversation that, yeah, for sure, even with 5 days, this wasn't a minor tweak or something like that. She's out.
can we throw out there? You know, it doesn't get easier. And I think we come back and have Minnesota twice, right? So it's really good mentally, physically, and emotionally for us. And then it gives us practice time, which we're going to need.
Tough situation.
All right, let's get into the players. We have Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell here, obviously, as well. But yeah, just to wrap it up, I can't talk enough about how important it is for this team to get a nice stretch of rest and practice in, work in Lambert, that kind of stuff. That'll all be really important for this team preparing for a solid Lynx team.
Just seems to bring the best out of you guys. I mean, just how the heck did you pull it off today?
You know, when we came in at halftime, we talked about one chipping away, being resilient. That's kind of been our story this entire season. And that's just what we do. But I think right now, even through adversity, I think we're able to see just God's blessing over us. I mean, we're down 21 and we come back and we play. And I think what stands out the most is just everyone coming in and affecting the game the way they did. And it's just been great.
Yeah, team win. Everyone down that bench, coaches, even the big G kind of contributed tonight, you know. He has favorites, I guess. He has his favorites, and they're the Indiana Fever. Except when it comes to injuries, apparently, you know, who knows what curse or voodoo work that is, but, you know, hey.
Kelsey, your second half with 34 of your points just
Damn!
the last after halftime. What took over you? How did you get it done on the floor?
I think it was more about what we did from a standpoint of like the mindset and the mentality from half to half. It sucked for me first half. It just wasn't, you know, and I think that, you know, it wasn't as well for our group, but the resiliency is true in our room. Seeing Sophie go down and then knowing what happened with Sid and then knowing what happened with Eric and then knowing what happened with Cece, it's like, I think a lot of it was just God and being able to like stay prepared and stay in your mental state to be able to compete. But I really think that that's the most resilient that we've ever been because of everything we've been through. So I think a lot of it you just tap into your team and you just love on your team. And I think, you know, great things can happen. Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I mean, I already talked about it. I think that Kelsey Mitchell could have easily checked out. The team could have checked out. They could have been shell-shocked like they were before in losses. And tonight, they galvanized. They rallied.
Well, Lee, a lot of your teammates have been stumping for Kelsey for MVP, so I figured I'd let you
You're right.
Oh, I feel like I don't even think there are any words. I mean, when you look at Kelsey's play and you look at what she means to the squad, I mean, coming out that second half and going off the way that she did, I think it kind of speaks for her case in general. She comes out, she defends, she scores the ball, she plays 40 minutes a game, and it's just like, and she still consistently puts up these numbers. I feel like if she's not MVP, shoot.
I mean, of the people on this team right now, like there is some joke about Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston just hasn't been hitting the numbers this year that she's going to get compared to with other posts like Asia and Fee. And Asia and Fee have missed games. So Kelsey Mitchell leading the league in scoring is not like a crazy feat because she has more games. So like points per game, she's maybe not as high. She's still up there though. But I mean, you have to hang your hat on like everything that Enrique was supposed to be this year or has been in the past or these big scoring players have been. Like Kelsey Mitchell has just been that, but better and more consistent. So there's not really a good argument against her, especially now that she's working an assist into her game, that she shouldn't be in the conversation this year with how she is playing. Yes, I understand if you take totality of stats and you look at the big games that Asia's having, like putting up 30 points and 20 rebounds or something crazy like that. But I think pound for pound, game to game, Kelsey Mitchell has very few blip games and a lot of just really solid performances.
MVP is crazy. I don't even think I thought about that.
That's okay.
What adjustments did you guys make defensively to kind of slow them down a little bit after the way they started?
I think that you have to find great players every night are in the WNBA, and it's going to be shots that they take that is tough. From Tina Charles all the way to Marina Mabry, both fantastic basketball players, and so you got to muck it up and make it dirty as much as possible, but they are also great basketball players. So for us, from first half to second half, it was about making sure we closed in on their space. I think scheme-wise, be up a little bit more, be inside their shirt pocket, their shoot pocket of shots from Marina. And I just think our aggression level just twisted, it turned from half to half.
Oh, definitely. Like the energy level was up, how much their intensity was definitely ratcheted up. But you could even see in like how they close out even late in the game, how they were paying attention to not recklessly close out, but they were like flying by them, getting close, like making them as uncomfortable as possible as you could. Even there was one where Tia Charles made a shot over Bree Turner, but it was a difficult shot. It was a really hard shot for her. And that's just constantly what you have to do because great players like Tia Charles, like Maria Mayberry, Marina's going to hit a logo three, like she's Caitlin Clark out there. And there's nothing you could do about that when it happens, right? But you have to go on to the next and you have to just keep making them uncomfortable to make them eventually miss those shots, what they did down the stretch.
For both of you two, it just seemed like, especially in the second half, you guys were knowing where to take your shots. You guys were whatever on that, just piggyback on what he was saying. On the offensive side, you guys just seem to have an answer. I mean, you talk about the determination.
Yeah.
What were you seeing from them defensively that you could attack or penetrate?
Yeah, I think we wanted to space ourselves out a little bit more. Coming off handoffs and ball screens, I mean, they were doing a great job of clogging the paint. They're super long, super active, so getting those spray passes were kind of difficult. But I think when you put them in a little bit more action, guard to guard action, post to guard action, post to guard ball screen, it's a lot more that they have to guard. And obviously, I think we did a great job with Kels capitalizing on getting downhill, turning that corner. So I think just our spacing on the floor opened up that second half, and then we're able to pick what we wanted.
Yeah.
I think also, I mean, I don't know what Kelsey Mitchell is going to say in this, but I talked a little bit about the backdoor, pointing that out late in the game. But also, I think that the two-man game between Kelsey Mitchell and Leah Boston down that stretch was immaculate. It was great. And the fact that that is so strong after having lost Caitlin Clark, who was that go-to two-woman game with Leah Boston, it's great to see. Obviously, Aaliyah isn't getting as much work as she did before and having its high highs, but she still is consistently night in, night out, and especially down the stretch when it matters in crunch time, getting great passes from Kelsey Mitchell.
Spacing was huge.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know what it's like to be able to play against different people that scheme for you or scheme for our team, and I think our spacing was pivotal in the second half.
Yep.
Aaliyah, with all the adversity your team has been through so much of the season, it'd be easy for this team to come apart and fall apart. What do you think have been the keys to staying together? And I have a follow-up to Kelsey.
Yeah, I mean, every day in our huddle, that's what we say together. And it's just more than words for us. I think when you see things happening, there's no other way. If you spread apart, the season goes down quicker than anything else. And we talk about with the injuries, people are probably expecting us to just fold, just like you said, and that's not us. We come in the locker room and we're motivated. We continue to be motivated every single time we step on that floor. At halftime, we're motivated, chip away, and that's our mindset. And just continue to uplift people. When one person goes down, we say it all the time, the next woman stands up. And that's really just been our motto and been what we've had to do a lot this season, and that's what we're just going to continue to do.
Fans will talk about tanking. Players like this, team like this, they're never going to talk about it that way. So good to see that they are true competitors.
Kelsey, for all the competitiveness and intensity today, how much fun was it?
Oh, the competitive nature, individual, I could say, I'm a competitive player and I just love to compete. I love basketball that much, and I think basketball saved a lot of our lives. And so I think the fuel of the moment was it was perfect for us because we needed it. A lot of people don't know what we're going through as professional athletes and not having a team. Then you have a team and people come in and people go out. I really, really thank our group for the competitive nature because you could have easily given up, and I think that fuel energy from our group is special, man. It's special. No one can break it.
For you two, I want to talk about one more player that I think the credibility, I think doesn't get enough recognition is Odyssey Snaps.
Yeah.
She was having a very rough game. And
Yeah.
Her points contributed, but her points contributed to sealing the game also. We can talk about her resilience and what she's brought to the team since she's got here.
Yeah. I think O's mindset is the first thing. I feel like ever since she stepped foot with us, it's been questioned, she's been eager. And I think for us, obviously it's hard coming in close to the end of a season with a squad that's kind of figured it out a little bit. And so for us, it was like, listen, we know why you're here. You know why you're here. You know how to score the ball. You know how to defend. Be you. And that's really just kind of what we've been telling her. But I think today was a great game for that. She really just embraced it. She got downhill, got to the free throw line, and really just dominated, and her presence was felt.
Well, there you have it. That is the post game. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this video. And as always, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. And I'll catch you next episode.